are unions anticipating the consequences of digital technologies? How do they mobilize ideas to address their impact on employment, skills, and quality of work? And how these frames enable them or constrain them to embark into new repertoire of actions? So that was our objective. And the problem how we define it is that trade unions have primarily been voicing their concerns related to technological change within traditional IR institutions. And however, we know that innovation and knowledge institutions, such as regional clusters or organizations, are places where technological trajectories are shaped and union engagement is limited. So when we talk about early involvement, that was a kind of what we are proposing. And then the importance of ideas in understanding unions' interests and preferences. So this is what we're trying to grasp in this paper. So some theoretical assumptions, I'll go fast on this, but because we've discussed this, pace and direction of digitalization are being shaped by actors at various levels. It is variegated and multiscalar, and it intersects with economic and innovative policies at the regional level as well. So just to follow up on what Tob was saying, IR institutions and innovation and knowledge institutions matter. Okay, I have got something, disconnection, or I had a message saying that was blinking disconnection. It's fine. Okay. Sorry. And so the ideas about digitalization are linked to the experiences workers and unions have from using their institutions. And these ideas are also connected with the way actors anticipate the impact of digitalization of work.
My 2 slides. So in terms of context and methods, as Julie was saying, we built on 4 different cases at the regional level. So in regional clusters in aerospace, 1 case in Wallonia, Belgium, 1 case in Denmark for Julie, 1 case in Quebec, Canada for Christian and I and Cassandra, and 1 case in Ontario for Cassandra as well. We are building on a contextualized approach in terms of comparison. And we looked at 2 main dimensions in terms of our analysis in the comparative analysis. So the IR institution, if they are decentralized or coordinated in terms of collective bargaining and so on. And in terms of the regional aspect of the research, the innovation and knowledge institution thickness. So in a nutshell, the thickness is really more about how regional institution can help us explain and understand regional economic development and innovation. So institutional thickness can be thick or thin. We can talk about it a bit later. So yeah, we classified the 4 cases in these 2 dimensions. And in terms of just a broad trend in the of digitalization in the aerospace industry in our 4 cases, in the Belgian case, the companies were more focused on robotization and automation. In Denmark, it was about advanced production and robotics. And in Canada, so the 2 Canadian cases at the subnational level, there was similar trends oriented toward monitoring of the manufacturing activities. But we would say, it's not I, we would say that AI was a bit more adopted in Quebec, more or less. I think it's okay. So Cassie, you can add.
This is statistics kind of data. So
Yeah.
this is like national data and technology adoptions.
And yeah, provincial as well.
No, I'm not inventing it.
So this is in a nutshell the way we are presenting the results. So you have the 4 cases, and you have, as we mentioned, the IR institution, and then the type of engagement with innovation and knowledge institutions. And where we see unions involvement, it's mostly through training institutions and in the cluster and technology. So you have only in Quebec, in the cluster, where we see the unions participating in that regional cluster. But the ideas behind are related to employment, really for job loss as a Belgium case, competitiveness in Denmark, skills in Quebec, and employment and skills. And then just to give you a bit more, I can go maybe to what? To the anticipation, because this is what was interesting for us, is that we find at the end two main cluster of ideas. One is being portrayed as a threat, and the other one is portrayed as an opportunity. As a threat, we have Belgium, and the unions in Belgium talked about digitalization as a threat to employment. So the mobilization of traditional IR institutions, even if trade union questioned the capacity of these institutions to regulate the uncertainty, but they are using them, and they see that as a threat. In Ontario, it was also seen as a threat, where digitalization was a threat to employment, but they had also a discourse about an opportunity to create better jobs through the negotiation of workplace collective bargaining. So the use of the traditional institution was still keen to them. In Denmark and Quebec, we had a contrasting frame, and it was seen as an opportunity. In Denmark, it was seen as an opportunity to increase the competitiveness of the industry, and trade unions are involved in many types of institutions and have confidence in their capacity to solve the uncertainty of digitalization. And in Quebec, it was also seen as an opportunity, but a bit differently, because they thought that this was a way for them to increase their skill. So they thought that they would get into the cluster to increase their skills, but they recognize the shortcomings of the decentralized collective bargaining arrangements and are engaging in new spaces. That's why they're trying to get to the regional level. Okay. Oh, yeah, and then I'll talk about it, but a common conclusion is that the context of innovation and knowledge, there's no union involvement in that particular sector. So what does it tell us? So maybe we can also see right away that coordinated IR institutions, as opposed to decentralized arrangements, create more space for unions to frame the technological trajectories. Innovation and knowledge institutions are being increasingly important in the development of Industry 4.0, but we see that none of them are involved in institutions addressing directly technological innovation. And we try to make sense of this also, because digitalization also create tensions for unions in their action. In Belgium, we saw that seeking to create new jobs through the traditional institution, while work and employment issues are also addressed within innovation institutions where unions are not involved. So it creates some tension about their action. Denmark, we see that by focusing on productivism, the manufacturing union may be further caught between choosing the right pathways for its action. Are they going more academic or more radical? So there was a bit of a tension for union actors. In Quebec, we see that engaging in innovation and knowledge institutions represents an opportunity. However, it doesn't increase unions' capacity to act upon the immediate needs of the workers at the workplace through collective bargaining. So it was a tension between what the shop floor was saying and getting into those kind of clusters. And in Ontario, we see that seeking to secure jobs through traditional IR institutions, but union coverage and influence over employment issues is shrinking. So